now is what every guerrilla filmmaker, independent producer needs to know. How to sequence a scene, how to get things to cut together, and the theory behind making invisible editing. Now, invisible editing is something that is almost magical because we don't go through life blinking our eyes and seeing new cuts, but you accept it on a movie, and there's rules to how to get that acceptance from the viewer's eyes. What we're going to teach you first is framing, basic framing. These are graduations in the composition of your shot that are prescribed, have been working for 100 years and speak about film language. Now, the reason why they change is because that fulfills one of the laws of making a perfect cut, and that means change your lens size. In other words, come in closer or wider from your previous shot if you want something to cut. Change your lens size. That's essentially a wide shot. WS or LS, long shot, they call it in video. Then your next setup is a 3/4, where you cut on the knees. It doesn't really matter exactly, let's go to a mid. It doesn't really matter exactly that you stick to it, as long as your change between your cuts is enough. In other words, let's go from this mid through to an MCU. It's enough of a change of your lens size to justify and motivate the cut. Right, that's a classic close-up. You include a slight little bit of the shoulders, and you do have a tiny bit of headroom, although generally it's less than that. And then go into an ECU. An ECU is when you lose the shoulders, and when you just, some people call that a BCU, or a big close-up. And then an ECU would be an ECU just of the eye, of the mouth, and there you have an ECU, a proper ECU of eyes. Now, what you have to understand in order to get your things to cut properly is continuity. In other words, you keep the continuity, you keep the screen directions, and when you cut from shot to shot, the viewer doesn't get confused by the fact that people don't seem to talk to each other because they're pointing the wrong way. You all know what I'm talking about. You've all watched bad movies, and if you're a film student, you've probably made those mistakes. Well, this is the bottom line in how to get a scene to cut together. Okay. You are looking at something called screen directions. In this scene that you see of me and these lovely ladies, if they were to be having a scene between them, in other words, if you, Mel, were talking to Bev over here, right, let's look at the screen directions of this scene. Okay? Now, on that main camera, Bev is from left to right. That's how you say it. She's not right, she's from left to right. So you say, Mel is left to right, and Bev is from the right of camera to the left, right to left, right? So, as you can see here on my little shot, okay, I've crossed the line because she is looking at Mel, but she is looking from the left of screen through to the right. So that shot over there, the wide shot over there, and this shot over here that you can see here will not cut. So let's set up a little scene that will cut. The scene will be, you say hello.
Hello.
And you say,
Hi.
hi, should we go somewhere? And you say, let's go to the zoo. Okay?
Let's
Ready?
go.
Cool. So that's the scene, okay? Ready, steady. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut in to this scene. It's a very simple scene shot now on a wide shot, but a wide shots are boring and profile of faces is boring. You need to be able to intimatize your scenes. So, stand by. Ready, and action.
Hello. Hi. Should we go somewhere? We can go to the zoo tomorrow. Okay, cool. Well, today.
Cut, right. That's as simple as that. Now, what you're seeing here is Mel on a left to right, and you must repeat this in your mind. Every time I say on a, you the viewer must say left to right, and Bev is on a
Right to left.
right to left. Okay. For shooting of the scene, we need to maintain that. So if I was to come into a shot over here, right, and now she is left, and you take it from the viewpoint of the camera, okay, right to left. You always orientate yourself from the camera. It will not cut. Now, let's try this. Okay, you look at her, stand by, and take it again, and action.
Hello. Hi. Should we go somewhere? We can go to the zoo. Okay, cool. Let's go.
Okay, so what you can keep on looking at each other, girls. What you're seeing here is the proper screen direction, and as we move the camera, we go to the wrong screen direction. Okay, the way this would work is that if your viewer sees this camera on screen and sees it changing the screen direction, and action.
Hello. Hi. Should we go somewhere? We can go to the zoo. Okay, cool. Let's go.
Right, what you're looking at there is we can go to the zoo was done on a right to left, yes? Right to left, not left to right, on this camera now. So she would need to be left to right, it swaps around. If she was right to left, which she was, as you can see here, right, she must be opposite, left to right. So it looks like they're talking to each other. Let's run the scene, and action.
Hello. Hi. Should we go somewhere? We can go to the zoo. Okay, cool. Let's go. Okay.
And let's show a screen direction change. At the moment she is right to left, and action.
Hello. Hi. Should we go somewhere? We can go to the zoo. Okay, cool. Let's go. Cool. Okay.
One of the rules of changing a screen direction legally, in other words, so that it doesn't confuse the viewer and make a bad shot, is to use the camera to show the screen, or your other option, instead of tracking the camera, is to get the actor to do it. If you were to say hello there, and then shift your weight and then look past there for the rest of the scene, try it, and action.
Hello. Hi. Should we go somewhere? Yes, we can go to the zoo. Okay, cool. Let's go.
Good. Now, if she's a left to right, she must be a right to left. That would be crossing the line. What line are we talking about? There's an action axis. It's a 180-degree action axis. And it exists between the camera, well, there's a 180-degree action axis. Now you cannot cross this line without confusing your viewer. It exists between the heads of the two players. That would be a purely neutral shot, right? When they're looking straight into camera, which you can't use in dramatic context. That would be across the line, and this would be on this side of the line. And what I'm talking about here is anywhere in the initial master shot over here, she was right to left, she was left to right. Now, anywhere on this axis here, look at each other, guys. Anywhere on this axis, that still maintains. Bev is right to left, and Mel is left to right. And here I go, a full 180-degree track around. This is why it's called a 180-degree action axis. Because anywhere I go in this 180 degrees, they still maintain their screen directions, which is what you need. So, she is still left to right, and she's looking from the right of screen through to the left. So do you see this, guys? You need to maintain those screen directions. Now, of course, if you were to sit forward, right forward, the actor changed the eye line. Did you see that? Sit back, and then it's legal. you always orientate your screen direction from the camera's point of view. And this is like stage and theatre craft, where you always orientate according to the viewer's eye point, which is the camera, obviously. So that would always be left, and that would always be right. In our scene over there, we have this 180-degree action axis that we discussed from that shot, and that would come all the way from the neutral, which is very important to know, because neutral is where there is no screen direction, and that can help you change your screen direction legally. I'll explain later. All the way through to our continuing to maintaining those screen directions. Now, the way to motivate a cut, right? The way to motivate a cut is to get a cut to happen in action. That's one of the rules, okay? The other one is to change your lens size. So if you want to cut into something, change your lens size. Either go wider or tighter. This is a rule. If you keep it the same size and you cut from the same shot to the same shot, you will have what's called a jump cut. And the third and final vital thing to making perfect invisible editing, in other words, that your viewer doesn't get jarred or freaked out, and the third and final thing that you need to know is vary the angle of your camera. Each time you want a cut to happen, you would change the lens size, go wider or tighter. You would try and get the cut in on movement, because this justifies the cut perfectly. And number three, you change the angle of your camera to the scene. So in other words, if I was to track this camera along here, keep on rolling, right, and you were to zoom in a little bit and get a different shot, I have done two of the three things that would justify the cut, and that is change the angle and change the size. Guys, sit a little bit closer together so we don't stretch the frame. Okay, and let's run your scene. Not a little bit further up. Yeah, okay. And let's run that scene. And stand by. By the way, if you're directing him as runner, set like a clockwork, and it starts with first positions, people. Stand by, tell him what you're doing. We're going for a rehearsal. And action.
Action.
No, Andre. First position.
Okay, well,
we're going for a take. You tell them what you're doing. Okay. You say roll camera.
Okay, first positions, please, ladies and gentlemen. We're going for a take. Roll camera.
Wait for the speed.
And action.
We have an emergency. Our friend's been attacked.
Cut.
And action.
Hello. Hi, should we go somewhere? We can go to the zoo. Okay, cool, let's go. Okay.
Cut. Okay. Now, what you want to know here is that profile shot that you saw was very boring. And to get performance, you need to look at the difference. Look at each other. Look at the difference in the shot that I've got here. In terms of intimacy, she's right to left, yes. So it'll cut with our wide shot, yes. But look how much better this is. When you come closer in on the 180-degree axis, you can even come in for a little bit of an over shoulder. That includes the intimacy. It makes them look like they're talking to each other. But let's run the scene with this shot and see how much better it is than the profile wide. And action.
Hello. Hi, should we go somewhere? We can go to the zoo. Okay, cool, let's go.
And similarly, a profile shot from the camera position there. And action.
Hello. Hi, should we go somewhere? We can go to the zoo. Okay, cool, let's go.
Is not nearly as nice as coming around here, closer to the 180-degree action axis. And I'll need a cable to show people the eyeline angle. And run the scene, and first positions, and rehearsal, and action.
Hello. Hi, should we go somewhere? We can go to the zoo. Okay, cool, let's go. Okay.
And action.
Hello. Hi, should we go somewhere? We can go to the zoo. Okay, cool, let's go.
And action.
Hello. Hi, should we go somewhere? We can go to the zoo. Okay, cool, let's go.
You've all seen scenes where you start with a wide and then you cut in. But do you know the ultimate secret to making a perfect cut between these two ladies? Right. One from here, one from here. It's called a matching reciprocal. And what you do is you match every aspect of the shot. Okay? And we're going to go through that now. So, you cut from your wide, you're coming in on close-ups, TikToks they're sometimes called, or reverses, okay? Where you reverse on each one. And what you're after is, in a matching reciprocal, is a seamless cut. What you match is the distance of the camera to the subject. You match your frame size. So we'll make us a classic MCU. We'll include a little bit of hair just on the side over there. Okay? We give her looking room. She's left to right. Watch your continuity, your lens size. All these things are recorded. Your height of your camera up and down. Of course, your distance is recorded. Your light values and the relative position of things in frame you take note of. Look, there's the head there. We're going to try and match this in the next shot. She's pretty much 2/3. It's perfect. Okay? And action.
Hello. Hi, should we go somewhere?
We can go to the zoo.
Okay, cool, let's go.
Cut. Now see that shot? A good director takes a snapshot in his mind, so he remembers that, and he goes the other side and he sets up that same thing. Okay? Now, we had a little piece of head in the side, and what we're matching is the closeness of the camera, and you measure it, right? You match the eyeline angle, and I'm about to show you what the eyeline angle is. You match the relative position in frame, and that is close as it can get. I think you'll agree. Like that. And let's run the scene and action.
Hello. Hi, should we go somewhere?
We can go to the zoo.
Okay, cool, let's go.
Cut. Good. And now we move on to something called the eyeline angle. Right. And what essentially that is the angle between the camera, the actress or actor, and what they're looking at. In this case, you're looking at a very 90-degree kind of angle. Not so. From the camera through to the actress and what she's looking at. And that's a very profile shot, not very nice. So if we were to reduce the eyeline angle, we would land up coming this way around. Keep on looking at her. And then the eyeline angle, I'll keep on holding that to your forehead, right? If you wanted to change your eyeline angle, this is what you do. To a more intimate shot, instead of profile, you'd come round here like that and close that angle. And there you can see the shots becoming more intimate and more personal. You can see a person's thoughts and face and in their eyes, and that's so important for a personal performance. Okay, so that's the eyeline angle, and it's also what you match. Now, this angle here, in terms of a matching reciprocal, is approximately what, 20, you think? 25 degrees? Okay, gives for a nice look at her, gives for a nice angle. That eyeline angle needs to be matched when you come here. Swap the thing. Just swap it. However you want to do it. That angle, right. Needs to be matched in order to get a proper matching reciprocal. As well as, just to recap, the distance from the subject, the relative position of people in frame. Get the same eye line angle. Get the same, now we look a little bit wider. Aha, that's probably more like it to our previous one. The height of the camera important, the continuity of the lighting, and all of that. Now, here's something that many directors do not understand. Let us imagine we needed this shot now on the matching reciprocal. The background over there is, unfortunately, completely wrong. I'm going to show you a little trick called cheating the background. Right. And what we do is you take the setup that you want, you measure the angles as we've done it, and the distances, and you set this same shot up. this exact same shot up somewhere else. So that angle over there, we take that scene and we find ourselves another background. And it can be anywhere in the world. You can get a scene to cut where two people look like they're talking to each other and they aren't even in the same country. If you just get these parameters right. Okay, guys, sorry about that. That was eyeline angle. Never forget it. Cheating the background. Now, our background at present for that matching reciprocal, that reverse is not suitable. What we're going to say is, cut on this camera, go a bit further over there. Okay, right. You maintain you need to go closer there to keep that same angle. Right, let's just check the eyeline angle is still right. 25 or so degrees. It seems a bit silly, guys, but you need to think of this in terms of this. Okay, and thank you, you got it. Right, and there you have essentially, well, a little bit tighter, same lens size, remember. It's not a matching reciprocal if you've changed it. It must be the same essential lens size, same height, same distance again, same eyeline angle. Very important. Okay, drop it. And let's run the scene. Stand by and action.
Hello. Hi, should we go somewhere? We can go to the zoo. Okay, cool, let's go. Okay.
And that background is far better than the one we had before, and you could have put that background anywhere you wanted in the set. On that wide shot, you would be cutting in to something pretty much like this, right? But let's just say we wanted to cheat it, okay? So, what we're going to do, and keep on rolling everyone, is going to take you, right, and put you sitting over here. Okay, here. Right. And you sit up, turn that way, as if you were in exactly the same scenario. You're going to zoom in. Okay, you're too high, go lower, that's it. You match the relative positions in frame, and there you have the cut in that we basically wanted. She hasn't moved, we didn't move the camera, and let's run the scene, you'll see it actually edit. And action.
Hello. Hi, should we go somewhere? We can go to the zoo. Okay, cool, let's go. Okay.
Right. Cut. Now, of course, that angle, as long as that eyeline angle between the camera and her, that over there, stays the same, this will cut. Our next scene, of course, would need to be behind here, but now we're seeing the whole set, right? So we're going to take that relationship between them and swap it to wherever you want. And always make a habit of it. Whenever you're doing interviews with people, pull them closer, the person who's interviewing, closer to the camera, making the eyeline angle easier. In fact, I'll give you an idea. You look at me. Go on a MCU of Mel there. If I'm a director and I'm asking the questions over here, right, I'm pulling her profile, which is no way to shoot an interview. However, if as a director I have the sense of mind, or I listen to my cameraman and I bring this eyeline angle closer, look at the difference in the shot. When it's a palpable difference. There's a difference between professionalism and amateurism. Think of the eyeline angle, always pull your eyeline closer. Remember, the viewer doesn't understand the geography of the scene as well as you do. So you can always cheat a little bit. Cheat backgrounds, cheat eyeline angles, get it looking perfect. And now what we're doing, essentially, is the final piece of the puzzle. Right, it involves continuity, screen directions, and it's what's called master take and triple take technique. Okay, and if you know these things, along with screen directions, eyeline angles, matching reciprocals, reverses, tick-tocks, and cutting in movement, changing your lens size, and changing your camera angle on the scene to justify a cut, you will be a director and all your scenes will cut. So what we're talking about in master take technique comes down to what old film methods, where they had lots of money and lots of film to roll, and they would start a scene by shooting a wide shot of the entire scene, a master take. And then, after they'd shot the master take to their satisfaction, sometimes you have a pickup, by the way, in the middle of a master take, then they would start lensing the entire scene on a mid instead of a wide shot. And then, when they finished with that, they would, in a master take technique, would then go and lens everything on an MCU. and shoot the entire thing on an MCU and then shoot everything on a close-up, and then it would be 30 days later, you would have no money, no film left, and at least you would have a well-shot scene. What we can do to shorten that process is something called the triple take technique, and it's a very, very important skill that you need to have. It involves overlapping action, right? Changing your size, your lens size, changing your camera angle, and overlapping action, where what you do, let's just run a master take technique shot of this first little piece of the scene, and you will get to understand how wasteful it can be of film and time.
My phone. She's already gone.
Mel, what are you up to? Why do you look so strange?
Nothing.
Hey, Ryan. Isn't that Nick's boyfriend? Yeah, but only personal.
This is his number.
But we're not sure.
This is.
Oh, yeah. This was weird.
Hey, I know what you guys are up to. You guys are planning something for my birthday, hey?
Go check wardrobe. Yes, okay. This is weird.
Hey, Beth. Please hurry with the one for tomorrow.
Okay, stand by, girls. We're going to do a first take on that, and action. The phone rings, she gets up, she picks the phone, she goes to the window, she looks out, she looks at the phone, she looks up at her friend, she looks back down, the phone says nothing or whatever, and then down there. Now, all of these actions, all of these movements are very important to telling the story of her noticing the phone has got a message, thinking to check the phone, looking at her friend, so the viewer starts to realize that the story is being told, right, and that she is noticing something relating to that girl. And your camera angles of this are vital for the viewer to understand what the story is. So that was a master take technique, and then in true master take technique style, we would land up needing to shoot a mid shot of her doing the thing, and then a close-up of her doing the thing, and it's all very wasteful. Triple take technique tells you that if you know your angles, you say, right, I'm going to start this shot on a wide, I'm going to get her moving, right, and I'm going to cut into a close-up, right, of the phone being grabbed. And then the way triple take works is you start on the wide, you don't finish your wide, you don't need to, and then we will overlap the next shot with the previous shot, and then the shot after that will also be overlapped with the previous shot, in terms of one was wide, the next shot was tighter, or one was tight, the next shot was wide. You overlapped the movement, so you have time streams of her picking up the phone on a wide shot, and a time stream of her picking up the phone on a close-up, and these actions that she does overlap on your two shots, allowing you to cut some time during the movement. And that's Lionel's rule number one. To justify a cut, cut in movement. So what we're going to do now is just do the first short piece of what will be our wide shot for the triple take technique. And stand by, and wait for it, and action. Cut. So we're not following the whole thing through. Cut, cut, cut. Not you. Not cameras. Okay, so what we'll do now, okay, is we're going to take a close-up on this phone. We're going to, and triple take technique allows you to contract and expand time so that you can make things shorter and longer according to your voiceover, according to the pace of the film. So by lining up on a close-up of this little phone here, which is what our A camera is going to do, that camera there being our proper shoot camera, and that camera over there being on us in terms of presenting and teaching. On the shot of that, right, we are going to overlap the action of the wide shot of her coming in, see her grabbing the phone, and see her taking it out. fulfilling the three aspects of triple take. In other words, yes, we're probably only going to cut to the shot once she has grabbed the phone, but you want to overlap the action with the wide. Because if you do everything from the cut point, you're going to start your shot here, and on action you're going to take it away. It forces you to cut at this point here only. Whereas if you overlap your action, you have a choice of here, or here, or here, or here, or here, or here. You understand? It gives you options. You overlap the two time streams. Right, let's roll, and the phone is brr, brr, ringing, and action. In comes the hand, picks it up, and out it goes. Cut. Now, we're going to overlap that scene that we've just seen here with the next shot, okay? We're going to overlap that by putting the phone back. So you're overlapping, right? Putting the phone back, she will pick it up again and move to the window. And we will start on a wide shot. So we've skipped out a whole lot of footage that we might have needed to shoot on the wide shot by coming to shots we know we do need, like the close-up of the phone. And now, when we pick her up, she's going to be on, in fact, come and stand here. Right? She's going to be over here. All you're going to do is fetch the phone. Which hand did you use? Keep the hand in continuity. Continuity is everything. Hair must be the same. Right, the proper hand must be noted, written down, and used in each take. And action. Let's run this. Right. Follow, follow. Now we're going to overlap. Come on, let's follow. We're going to overlap with this shot. Stay there. Right. And we want to cut in when she turns, sees the phone, right? See, and checks the number. That's when we want to cut in, okay? But we're going to overlap it. We're going to get her to carry on with her scene in this lens size, even though we know we're going to be close. Why? Because the two time streams will overlap, and we have a choices when to cut, and we can cut in movement. So let's shoot that little piece of the scene. Stand by. Let's first positions. Phone over here. We're overlapping, you're standing over here. We're going to get you in movement, right? It's long, we know we're going to cut to this close-up of the phone, but we're just getting you into movement, right? So that the movement will overlap. And don't worry about me being here. This is for training purposes. And action. Now we're going to cut in about now, but we still carry on rolling because it's overlap, triple take. At the beginning of the shot, you overlap. And at the end of the shot, now you overlap. And then we cut, and our next shot is going to be much closer, okay? We don't start her here because that's a static cut from a wider shot into a closer shot. We want to do this in movement, so we overlap our action. We say to her, pull back in time. Come further back as if you're about to approach to the window, right? You follow her in on that thing so that you have an overlap. And you've changed the lens size. That's rule number 2. And number 3, if you wanted to, you could actually change your camera angle. So let me give the camera a little pull over here, like that. Give you a slight change of angle, and that makes for a perfect cut. Stand by. Let's roll this. Are you ready, guys? And action. There's the cut. In. We might do it earlier or sooner. At least we have the option now. She looks, she goes down, and cut. Right. Now, let's overlap with triple take technique one more time. Okay? What we're going to do is go on a wide shot. We want her to settle down into this wide shot from that close-up she was. So we're going to be on a wide shot of our 3 people. You're going to be back up, overlapping in time. Stand back up to the window, and take it from the point. Go back, go back, go back. Take it from the point, go into your position, right, where you've just looked out the window, okay? And then you'll turn in exactly the same. And then once you settle in, continue with the scene so that you have a true triple take technique process. Okay?
Camera angle again?
Right, and yes, what we'll do to get this cut to motivate is we'll change the lens size, which we've done, wider, and we're going to change the camera angle again. Can I bring you a bit more this way? Right. And we are cutting in movement, and this will work. Stand by. Are you ready, sir? in a wide shot. I'm out of this. And you're looking through the window on action. Wait, on action. And action. And cut. Right, now when we cut into the scene and they're talking to each other, we come in. Remember our action axis, that would be crossing the line. Our action axis is the whole 180 degrees all the way around here. It will cut. If you needed to show someone coming in through a door at the background over there, right, you could bring your camera here. If your door was over there, you could bring your camera here. Or if you needed to see out the window, all of that would still cut because you're maintaining your screen directions. You can get matching reciprocals, and using triple take technique, we've advanced the scene and we're going to overlap previously, start on action, drop into shot, and Melanie, on action, start up, aha, overlapping, and you've already noticed the phone, you've already done all of that, and
Does that look up?
no, don't worry, you already seen it, and action. And there, cutting into movement is what works. And let's get a matching recip, stay back with her, stay on her, a reverse, and settle into her from the start, first positions, and action. Yeah. Do you see the overlap, guys? That's triple take technique, takes a bit of practice. All it means is cut in movement, overlap your actions so that your different shots have overlapping actions, and the thing will cut. Oh yeah, and change your angle of your camera as well for seamless editing. All right, what this is about is what stumps most directors, most amateur directors, right? What you want to know is how to cut a scene and follow the continuity and screen directions of the scene when you have more than three or more actors. And this involves people coming in through doors, other people arriving, noticing something. It involves telling the story to the viewer in a way that still makes sense and still getting the angles that you need in order to lens your movie properly. Obviously, this is just a practice scene without very serious dialogue in order to help show you. We have 3 cameras running. This little camera over here to give you an idea of screen directions, our main shoot camera, and our ultra wide over there to situate you in terms of the geography of the scene so that you know. Okay, we're going to run the basic scene so you know what's involved, and then I'm going to show you how to make it better than just being profile. Stand by, and action.
It's so boring.
Let's do something. Where's Denise?
I don't know.
Hey guys,
Hi, where have you been?
just hanging around.
Hey Denise, let's go to the zoo.
The zoo's boring.
No man, let's just go.
Okay, now what you saw was very profile with the two of them standing looking at each other. So what you're going to come to rather is a shot like this after you've established from a wide, and not the profile that you see on that other shot. You'd simply want this as a proper reverse. And run the scene and action.
It's so boring.
So let's do something. Where's Denise?
Okay, cut. Now, hold it there. Her eye line, look at her please, is right to left on about a 25 to 30 degree angle. You're going to match this shot, not crossing the action axis, which goes across your neutral and then turns her right to left. She needs to be left to right, the same way that this shot is, the normal shot. She needs to be left to right. Okay, and your line is?
So let's do something. Where's Denise?
I don't know.
Hey guys.
Hey, where
Okay,
have you
cut.
been?
Now, hold, freeze. Where you are, please, don't move. She is left to right. We need to see Denise, right? If we're cutting into this, we can come all the way here to get a nice shot of Denise. I mean, Denise is right to left, and this lady, Rensha, is left to right. Okay, and action your line, walk in, overlap on triple take, and action.
Hey guys,
Hey, where have you been?
just hanging around.
Hey Denise, let's go to the zoo.
Cut, freeze, keep your eyes there. Now Denise has gone left to right. Okay, if you want to match the shot from Di over here, who is right to left, keep your eye lines please. Right, you need to go across what was previously the line between the two of them here to get a proper shot so that she is right to left, because she was, keep on your eye, left to right. So run that scene, look at her, you arrive, overlap, and action.
It's so boring.
Where's Denise? Let's do something.
I don't know.
Hey guys,
Hey, where have you been?
just hanging around.
Now you can only use that shot once she turns, wait, turn there, right, once she turns past your neutral. That's your neutral, do you see that? Now you can use it. So you cut it in from there, and then you carry on with the scene, action.
Let's go to the zoo.
The zoo's boring.
Cut. Now, look, no, you stay there. She has looked left to right to her. So, we need to pick up her line. If you're going to stay on this shot, if you're going to see, take your eye line from there. If you stay on this shot and you turn there, she is now left to right. You need to see her line to her on a right to left, left to right. But don't forget, you have crossed your line earlier, right? And that means that you have established a new line and you have to follow it through, or you have to cut back to your original line and not use her turn from there to there. But let's say that we're staying with that because we like that take and the director's flexible. So you have looked from here and action.
Let's go to the zoo.
The zoo's boring.
Cut. Right. We're coming here for a right to left of her line. The zoo is boring. So we're all looking at Denise and action.
Let's go to the zoo.
The zoo's boring.
No man, let's just go.
Cut. Come back into position. Good. Now you saw how that worked. Okay. Keep your last position. But the zoo's boring. There. Okay. Now, if you wanted to change the eye line so that you could match the other cameras, because now Rensha is, you have two options. You can get your actress to move a little bit like that. Okay. Bringing Rensha's eye line, keep with it Rensha, to your eye line. Bringing it in left to right, which is matching your master. Okay, so that's one option. The actor can move at the right time, changing your eye line from right to right, matching your master shot, or you can move the camera and give that line on the thing. Give that line on the zoo.
The zoo's boring.
No man, let's just go.
Use the camera. Cut. Now we're going to do the same scene without crossing the line or showing you how to follow the new line as you've used an actor to change the screen direction for you. We're going to follow the scene as per normal, as per both our master cameras. Okay, and I'm going to break it up so that you understand the sequence. Okay, what we have is someone coming in the background, and that changes the eye lines. Let's go. We're going to run the scene, and action.
This is boring.
So let's do something. Where's Denise?
I don't know.
Hey guys,
Hi, where have you been?
just hanging around.
Hey Denise, let's go to the zoo.
Okay, cut. Now, we're going to get all these different angles. So, stand back, first positions, and start, and action.
It's so boring.
So let's.
Okay, cut, and we come to this. This is what a director would do, but like obviously much slower. And first line.
It's so boring.
So let's do something. Where's Denise?
I don't know.
Hey guys,
Hi, where have you been?
Okay, cut. Now you'd either use that reveal from the close-up over here, or you would use her shot over here, and you can come into this. Remember, you're changing the angle, which is very intimate between the two of them over here. And when she looks that way, right, she changes the eye line for you. You would be able to come in here to get a reverse of that, right? When she turns back, you have to cut out of that in the midpoint latest. That's your neutral. And come back to here. So start from her. Your cut would come, turn, there. Right? You're still maintaining your right to left on her. And take the scene again.
hey guys,
Hi, where have you been?
just hanging around.
Hey Denise,
Okay,
let's
cut.
go to the
We
zoo.
pick up this. Hey guys, you look at her. Overlap. So you look at her, you move in, and action.
Hey guys,
Hi, where have you been?
There's
Just
a
hanging
left to
around.
right. There's a left to right, matching your other right to left. Now, when
Hey,
you
Denise.
when you talk, yeah, which is
Hey Denise, let's go to the zoo.
she turns
The zoo.
to look at her
boring.
talking from there through to there, changing your eye line
This is
angle,
boring.
right? You need, before she gets through that turn, you would need to maintain your master shot, so otherwise you can't use it. Once the screen directions have changed, you need to cut to there. So what we're fulfilling is the changing of the angle. We will be either tighter or wider than we were, and the screen directions are maintaining. And this is how you work with three actors. You follow the line, you follow the screen direction. Whoever's looking at anyone, you make sure that you're matching. Okay, and you've looked at her, you've just arrived, and action.
hey guys,
Hi, where have you been?
just hanging around.
Use it from there, yeah. Just take it clean, and you arrive, and hey guys, and action.
Hey guys,
Hi, where have you been?
just hanging around.
Hey Denise, let's go to the zoo.
The zoo's boring.
No man, let's just go.
Cut.
It's so boring.
So let's do something. Where's Denise?
Hey guys,
Hi, where have you been?
just hanging around.
Let's go to the zoo.
The zoo's boring.
No man, let's just go.
Okay, so remember, it's very important if you've got 3 or more actors to remember what you were on your last shot, what screen directions you were, and that way, let's run the scene. That way, you'll be able to cut your scene together and not have bold profile shots, right, with 2 people standing profile on each other. You can come in, get your angles, follow the emotionality of the scene in close-ups, and whatever you need. Remember, if I had a shot like this and I wasn't happy with that blue background over there, right, I can keep that eyeline angle. Come with me, don't resist. Keep that eyeline angle. You must maintain your, look at her, thing. And there we've changed the background and we've actually landed up keeping the same eyeline angle. As you know, the eyeline angle, the angle between the camera, the subject, and what the subject is looking at. We maintain the height for a matching reciprocal. We maintain the closeness of the camera and the zoom lens size. That will give you a perfect shot. Once again, here comes a matching reciprocal. The hair over here is taking up almost a third of frame. She For proper composition, you must always give someone looking room. Gently, tiny movements. That's your shot. And we're going to match that. Stay where you are, girls. Okay? Match that for everything. Matching reciprocal. Slightly lower. Things change slightly because of different heights and so on. Not you. Look at each other. Not you either. Okay, about a third across. Give some looking room, and there you have an approximate matching reciprocal. Screen directions are good. This will cut now.
Today we're looking at the master take technique, working with a fight sequence. We're going to set up the camera, get a wide shot of the whole action, and then cut in for close-ups as necessary. The action's basically going to be a young girl leaning against a wall, getting some unwelcome attention, some harassment, which she rejects increasingly firmly until the attacker eventually stops entirely. When we choreograph a fight sequence, the idea is to rehearse the whole thing slowly at first to get the whole flow of the action established with the actors. Because when you go in for close-ups, it's very necessary that that action matches your wide shot. When you go in for close-ups, what you're really looking for is angles that add to the drama, or especially the intensity of the action with the fight sequence. You're looking for angles that allow you to picture the action very strongly without the actors actually having to hit each other. Working in line with the camera, it's very possible to miss by several inches with a blow that looks very realistic. A major difference between a real life fight sequence and a movie one is in the movie one you make the actions as big as possible and telegraph the blows and impacts from far away before they even come. This lets the audience in on what's happening, and it looks, in a sense, a lot more realistic. Reactions to being hit are much better, generally look better, than actually physically being hit, which strangely enough doesn't look like that much. The choreographer is more concerned with the physical movements of the bodies involved. You know, facial expressions, lines spoken, etc. is more perhaps the concern of the director. But between the two of them, it's necessary to work out a fusion of the action that, in essence, is very similar to directing something like dance. It's a very known sequence of movements to the actors by the time they perform it. An important consideration as well is where to use your stunt doubles and where to use your real actors. Obviously you don't want to damage your actors, in fact insurance-wise and so on you very often can't. And close-ups can help you a lot with this, that in the wide you can have some really violent movement that in close-up just involves an expression on the actor's face or a gentle shake of their head as it hits the floor. There's an incredible range of looks given to fight sequences these days, from the old stuff of Bruce Lee where ribs got broken and action was very intense and usually at real speed, nowadays to the very slow, spicy hand kind of feel as seen in The Matrix and so on, of very slow emotions, very precise, very accurate, dance-like choreography. And in between these two extremes, there's even, say, the ugly brutality of a Steven Seagal zapping his thumb down into someone's eye. The range is really huge, and there's a lot of scope for creative special effects work.
What the fuck is wrong with you? I think it's challenging one.
Key really is forget about anything to do with real fighting, please, and get it to look good.